So hey everybody, it's Karyn Bryant for MMA H.E.A.T. I'm talking with Patrick Cote, who of course, is fighting on the UFC Saskatoon card. And listen, he's taking on Josh Burkman. But listen, Patrick, I know for you, this was a big deal, and you kind of had to keep secret about this for a while, right? Because you knew this card was happening, but couldn't really say much about it, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Just because there wasn't any commission, athletic commission over there in Saskatoon, so they had to build one. So we knew that we were supposed to go there, and we knew that we were supposed to have a fight over there, but we couldn't say anything because of that until that the commission was ready to have us over there.
So how big of a deal is it? Because, you know, we in the States, know that Canada is obviously a very big market for the UFC, but we feel like, it's been everywhere. So how big a deal is it, though, for you guys to be in Saskatoon? Because to us, it just seems like, well, of course, they should be everywhere in Canada.
Yes, exactly. Saskatoon, for sure, it's not the #1 pick if you want to take vacation in Canada. That's 100% sure. But there's a good fan base over there for the MMA, and it's good. It's always good to be part of the history. We're gonna go there for the first time. I know the UFC want to go. I wanted to go in Saskatoon since a long time, but there was a problem with the government and commission. So I know I've been there a couple of times for a golf charity tournament and autograph signature and all those things, appearance. So I know the fan base is really, really good over there. They are really hardcore MMA fans over there.
Very nice. So also, again, we were talking before when this was sort of coming together, and no disrespect to Josh Burkman, but he wasn't really your first choice, right? So how did this come about? How did this matchup come about? Because I know, you since you dropped to welterweight, doing well, just dropping that one to Wonder Boy. And Josh wasn't necessarily the guy that you wanted. So how did this one come together for you, though?
There's so many shows now, so all the welterweight was already were already booked. Yeah. So that was hard to have a big name for me to fight. But you know what? You can't underestimate Josh Burkman. He's veteran. He has over 40 fights under his belt, so he has a lot of experience. And he came back to the UFC on short notice, fought Hector Lombard, went to the distance, and after that they gave us the #9 ranked in the world in the welterweight division, and Dong Kim. So it was a hard road for him to come back in the UFC. So if I stop my thinking about he lost his 2 last fight, it's a big mistake. He's way better than that, and we know that, and we are well prepared to face Burkman.
Well, I feel that that's the case with a lot of people in the UFC now, because it is so tough that you can't just say, oh, the guy's lost some fights, he's no good, because you're all good.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is the UFC. You can't go higher than that. This is the best organization in the world, best fighters in the world are there. So that's funny. When my friends or people ask me, oh, who you fight? I'm fighting this guy. He's good. For sure, he's good. He's in the UFC. There's no more there's no more bad guy over there or not good guy over there. This is what's happening. So you can't take anybody easy.
Well, at the same time, though, now it is so important to get a name. And I know Nate Diaz is somebody that, you thought about, hey, this would be great. And there's other people, like you said, that sort of get assigned already and they weren't there. But do you feel that it's even harder now, to sort of make a point in the organization that you do have to have a quote-unquote name? Or can you just go in there and have a great fight and, and fight well and make a point to Joe and Sean?
100% sure. Yeah. I think the performance gonna decide, your future. Yeah. The best example, it's Neil Magny. Neil Magny was 6 wins in a row, and almost nobody knew who he were. Yeah. Just because of his performance. But he was on a hot streak. But you saw when he fought Damon Maia, he fought a top 10 guy. That wasn't a great fight for him. But that's the thing. And if you compare to some guys like, I'm going to the extreme on the other side, but Conor McGregor only had 4 fights, already fought for the title. This is different between selling yourself and giving good performance and back it up what you said. This is a show. This is an entertaining business, and you have to understand that. on top of winning fight.
Well, it's funny that you bring up Neil, because obviously we know now that he's on short notice and he's stepping in for Rick Story, who is somebody that you wanted to fight, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, man, why they didn't call me? I'll jump in for sure. But no, I'm good. I did my preparation for Burkman for the last month and a half. So we're ready to go. We know Burkman very, very well, and we are excited about this fight.
But you and your guys didn't say, "Hey, I'll take Eric Silva instead," and why don't we shuffle somebody else for Josh?
We didn't know. know. The thing is, I saw that on the web that Magny jumped in and replaced Ari. So doesn't matter. Next time. So it's my job now to win the fight, and after that, make a statement, and we'll be able to call anybody I want.
So speaking of statements, how do you feel about what happened against Joe Riggs? Obviously, you won that fight, but do you feel that that was indicative of who you are as a fighter now? Are you happy with how you performed that fight?
For sure. Yeah. Everybody know me as a striker. Mm-hmm. In my entire career, I was always well known for my hands and all those things. But the last year, I think I improved more my game than my last 10 years in this business. This is a better version of myself, about wrestling, about jiu-jitsu. I just got my BJJ black belt too, so it's
nice.
Before I had a doubt to go to the wrestling. I had to doubt to go to the, but not anymore. And I think it showed when I fought Karyn Bryant and when I fought Joe Riggs. The same thing. Doesn't matter. Example against Joe Riggs, I tried 2 shoulder throw that I never did that in my career, but I wasn't scared to try new thing because I know that anywhere the fight go, I will not be in trouble. I will have other option in my game.
What did you do differently than in the last year? It's funny because sometimes you talk to veterans, not that they stop learning, but you know what I mean? After a while, some guys just sort of phone it in or whatever. So what is it that changed in the last year that maybe reinvigorated you to feel like you went on to still learn new things?
Yeah, never stop learning. Never stop learning. In this thing, if you keep your mind open, you will learn every day. And that's my thing. And I think that the thing I'm more proud of it's I'm very, very faithful with my team. I'm with Present Top Team since 10 years. I'm with my boxing coach since 7 years. The same thing with my conditioning coach. So now we know each other pretty well, and it's easier to go to the next step. And I know myself better too. And with all the knowledge I was able to acquire in the last years, now I'm able to put that on the table and be a better fighter.
Nice. And also, you're certainly not old, but for some of the guys that are older, making that lighter weight is hard. Certainly, we know that you fought at 185 before, so successfully, you've been at 170 now for 5 fights or whatever. But is it hard? Are you miserable? Do you get mean that last couple weeks?
No, the last week for sure, a little bit, because you get in your bubble and all those things. Being on diet in summertime, it's horrible, but it's not hard because I have a good team around me. And I have some people who's preparing my food now, and Nutrition Fit Plus. I have my nutritionist, Jean-François Godreau, who's taking care of me pretty well. So for me, it's easy. I'm just following what they tell me to do, and I'm doing it. So if I cheat at the end of the day, I'm gonna be miserable at the weigh-in or when I'm gonna cut weight because I'm gonna be too heavy. So this is my part of the job to follow what they say because I have confidence about those guys. So no, but you know what? Diet's never fun. It's never fun, but it's part of the job and you have to do it. And now with all the knowledge about nutrition, you can see all those guys at 185, they are huge. So I couldn't compete at this weight class anymore. I was too small. So that's why I made the sacrifice to drop at 170.
Well, that seems smart because, it's interesting. So many guys now like you who have been around for a while, you have a real perspective on it. And, you know, sometimes I wonder if you know, like, let's say today, if Patrick Cote were just getting signed to the UFC, you know, where would you have signed up? Would you have ever been a 185, or would you just walked in at 170? I mean, what do you look at the organization now, because you do have such perspective on it? How do you see it? Do you think it's like harder to be there now than it was when you first got there?
100% sure.
Yeah,
for sure. You know, when I got in the UFC, I was in 2004.
Yeah,
there was not a lot of shows, and that was a little bit more on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But now, you know, with the Ultimate Fighter season 1, after that the sport just exploded, and everybody start to train MMA and train UFC and
train UFC, right? Exactly.
Exactly. So, and now there's so many gyms and so many fighters, so many good fighters too. So it's very hard to go in the UFC right now. Even if you have a good performance outside in a smaller show, to make your name, it's really hard. The easiest way is to pass by the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm sure it's harder now than when I started that.
Well, I believe on the Saskatoon card, isn't Olivier Aubin-Mercier on there as well? And a couple of the guys that and I'm trying to remember, like, who was on your team for Smashes, you know, but I'm wondering, you know, it's funny because, not that well, I mean, I'm sure to them, you know, for some of these guys, you know, you're something of a role model, and you know these guys that you coached, and the Spartan and all these guys really trying to make their names now. To me, how do you feel about these kids? I call them kids, but you know what I mean. Like these young guys that are there now that were on your team, and you kind of had to help shepherd them, and they're doing good things. Was there any sort of specific advice you gave them about how to approach it, or just in general, like knowledge on what to do, because it is so different now?
Yeah, sometimes but we're in the same place, and they train under TriStar, especially Chad Lapierre is going to be on the card too, and Olivier. So they have a good team there. They have a lot of veterans. They can ask questions over there. But sometimes we do like last week, me and Olivier went to Toronto for a media day, and that was pretty cool. And we'll talk, and we're pretty cool together.
Yeah.
But when I was in the Ultimate Fighter Tough Nation, I was more like the #1 training partner for them than just a coach and just saying I do that. I wanted to be part of the team. I wanted to be like a training partner for them, and I think that's why they did. That's what they did appreciate the most. Yeah. That every day I was putting gloves, I was putting Vaseline, and I was like, all right. We want to train. You know, I'm here. I'm gonna teach you something. If you don't like it, take it or not. Right. But what I'm gonna tell you, I'm a game adder. I'm not a game changer. Right. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna add something to your game, but I'm not gonna change your style for sure.
Nice. Yes, and you're right. I said Smashes, but it was Tough Nations. You know, and of course with that it begs the obvious question. Well, Patrick, how long do you want to keep fighting? Like you said, you started with the organization in 2004. You have a career as a commentator as well, and some people would say that's a great thing to transition into. So you don't need to get your face punched anymore. So how long do you think you're going to keep doing it?
As long as it's not dangerous for my health. Yeah. As long as I'm able to compete with those guys at this level. Right. And as long as I'm happy doing that, I have a lot of things around outside the sport. Mm-hmm. I'm living pretty well outside the sport. So now I'm doing it because I'm still passionate about it, not because I need it. So it's 10 times more fun to go to the gym and all those things. I'm gonna start soon a family too. So I don't want to go to make the fight that I'm not supposed to, because I want to see my kid grow. You know what I mean? It's as long as it's okay for my health, I'm gonna still continue. But maybe one day or next month, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna go, man, I don't want to receive a punch in my face anymore. But
not so much.
We'll see. But right now, I'm still passionate about it. you know, if you ask me what's my plan is to still fight 4 times in the UFC, and after that, I will be comfortable to pull the plug, because with 4 more fights in the UFC, I will be the Canadian with the most UFC fight in the history of the UFC. So it's kind of cool to put that in your resume.
No, it's great, and you know, it's funny because when we think of Canadians, you know, so many people think of GSP. And obviously, Rory has made a great name for himself. I mean, that fight with Robbie was amazing.
Amazing.
Obviously. But certainly your name is up there with the great Canadians. And so, yeah, that I would imagine that has to feel good.
Yeah, it's feel good. I never did that for the money or for the fame, but you know what? It's fun to perform, and I think I had a nice run in the UFC. I got the title fight. There's a lot of fighters. They are on top 10, but they will never have a title fight. That's the thing that nobody can take away from me. I fought for the title for the best organization in the world. I have that. So for me, I was very close to reach my dream, that to be a champion. But you know, at least when I'm gonna pull the plug, if I don't have another chance to the title, I will be able to say that one day I fought at this time the greatest fighter in all time, and for the UFC title.
Well, you know, I personally am a big Anderson fan. I know he's going through some things, but I have always been impressed with him, you know, as a fighter. But for you, you know, how do you feel when you hear the stuff now that's going on, and they say it's Thai sex pills and this, that, and the other thing going on? I mean, how do you feel about everything that's going on with him? I'm
feeling happy that they cut Cheater. That's what I feel. I don't feel anything personally against Anderson Silva. All those guys, they decide it's a personal choice, you know, to take those stuff. I don't take it, you know, because you know I train hard, and every time I'm going to bed at night, I'm not scared of what's gonna happen the next day. I know exactly that I'm clean and I'm proud of it. And that's it. But this is a personal choice. I don't judge those guys, but I'm happy that finally there's a commission or organization or whatever. They work hard to cut the cheater.
Yeah. You know, so when we talk about what you will transition into, you told me before that, you know, obviously we know that you're the commentator for the UFC and you do the French language calling, but you're going to have your own sports magazine show as well this fall?
Yeah, it was supposed to happen in September, but it's gonna postpone in January. And there's a lot of good things in the future for me on TV here in Montreal. It's cool, and I like doing that. So we'll see. But I know there's a great thing it's coming now.
Well, listen, I'm right now. You know, I went to Florida to visit my mom, and we're in a resort now, and they have a little pitch and putt. So I'm gonna have to go do that as well. But I know you're an avid golfer. Who's your favorite right now? I know Jordan Spieth is killing it. You know, lately I know there was some stuff going on this past weekend. Personally, it upsets me that Tiger fell off the way he did. I don't understand how somebody can be so great and never get back to that.
Golf is so a mental game. You know, Tiger is still good. He's still he has the same skills, but it's just mentally.
But what would you tell him? Because I don't understand how somebody, like you said, it's mental, but his physical gifts are there. Like, what would you tell him if you were his coach? Because to me, it's incredibly frustrating to know somebody is that good and unable to perform.
It's mental, you know. It's a blockage that I know. If you compare to MMA, I know a lot of good. It's like gym fighters.
Yeah,
exactly like that. They're in the gym. They're killing it. They are beasts. Right. You put them in the cage, close the door. They can fight. It's mentally. It's a blockage mentally, and that's. You know, he's been through a lot of things too, Tiger Woods, and it's another life. It's another world completely that, you know, I'm sure, yes, he has a lot of money, he's all those, he's fame, but, you know, I'm sure this life sometimes can be easy.
I guess, but I can't believe it's just all because of the girl troubles. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't believe that can't be the answer to why somebody so great has fallen.
Yeah, but I'm sure that we will never
We'll never
get
know.
a real story for sure, 100% sure.
No, you're probably right. You're probably right with that. But it's just, to me, it's just like I don't get it. I don't get it. But listen, the other thing is that the guys, that I work with at Fox, Jay and Dan told me that it's not Saskatchewan, it's Saskatchewan. Am I right?
It's a Saskatchewan for me.
Right,
Sure.
Saskatchewan. And they said if you really want to sound like a native, say Saskatchewan, not Saskatchewan. And I was like, oh, like Oregon and not Oregon? They were like, exactly. So.
Yeah, it's different. And over there's a lot of native up north. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be sold out. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be loud. And I can't wait.
Very nice. And so, so it was April. Now it's August. So you would love to get on maybe like a November, December card again?
Maybe at the end of December, we'll see. It's gonna be my second fight in 4 months. So for me, that was a little bit busy. That was busy for me because I have a lot of things outside that I have to take care of too. But that's not mean I'm not ready. I'm 100% ready.
Right.
But I know that I'm not old, but I'm 35 years old, so I'm not gonna fight on this still for like 5 or 6 years.
Right.
We'll see what's gonna happen. Right now, I'm fighting next week, next Sunday, and this is what it's important right now.
And with Josh, I've read some things where you've sort of predicted a second round submission or so. Why do you feel so confident that that's how you'll end it?
I'm feel confident everywhere. Like I told you, on my feet, I feel I have more power. The wrestling, that can be even the wrestling because he's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be surprised about how I improve my wrestling too. That's the thing. That's the key. That if you want to wrestle with me, he's gonna have a wall in front of me, in front of him, because he's gonna realize that I'm not like the non-wrestler I was like 4 or 5 years ago. And on the ground, I mean, I feel very, very good, with my jiu-jitsu now. I feel confident. This is the thing. I was good on the ground before, but I didn't have this confidence I have now. Yeah. Now, I don't care. I'm going to go there. He has 9 loss, 7 by submission, and I'm looking to put an 8-1 in the record.
Very nice. And last question. I ask you this all the time. After your fight, I mean, I know you're third to last. Will you be on the mic beforehand? Will you get on the mic afterwards and go ahead and call the rest of the fights?
No, they're not going live. So they're going to be in studio in Montreal, so I'm going to have my free after that, so it's good.
Nice. But you'll be back in the studio for Demetrius's fight for 191 and everything, right?
Yes, exactly. September 5th.
Very nice. But they never let you on the road, right? Because I'm always saying to you, hey, if we're on the road, we'll meet up, we'll talk shop. But they always keep you up in Montreal.
Yeah, before we've been traveling a little bit.
Yeah.
And when George was fighting, we're all the time being live over there. But I don't know. They cut budget, I guess.
Wow, that's too bad. That's too bad. And it's funny because we over at the studios in LA, we have a lot of guys come in and try out, and some guys do really well and some don't. I think people think it's easier than it is. I mean, do you get that? Do you have guys come up to you and go, "Oh, Patrick, hey, why don't you guys have me in? I'd be great." And they don't realize how difficult it is?
Yes, because we tried. We tried to invite some guys in the show, and it's you know what, being in front of the camera, it's if you're not okay with that, all of a sudden you can freeze right away.
Yeah.
It's different to be in studio and cheering out for when you commentating the fights.
Right.
It's very different than when you're live. When you're live, it's easy. When you're live, you're there at the event, you're really pump it up, and it's easy to have emotion. But when you are in studio, you need practice. You need practice sometimes, and especially if the fight is very boring.
Right.
The time can be very, very, very long.
Well, and I'm sure for you, what was it? The Brazil card the other day? 7 hours of. I mean, that's too much.
That was horrible. That was horrible for sure.
Okay, well, listen, Patrick. I'm excited to see you fight again, and I know that you're fired up and you're going to give it your all. Josh Burkman, like you said, maybe wasn't your first choice, But I think you know it should be a great fight, and I know you have a great amount of respect for him to go in there and throw down with you.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Burkman, but you know, if you ask me if I think I'm gonna win, for sure I'm gonna say I'm gonna win. I'm gonna finish him, and this is not lack of respect. It's you know, confident I have about myself.
Yeah.
But you know, he has, like I said, he has a lot of experience. On paper, I see myself way ahead of him, way better than him. But you know what? Fight is a fight, so I need to be ready. I know he's gonna come very aggressive. He has kind of his back against the wall with 2 losses like that, so I know he's gonna be well prepared too.
And for you then, let's say some of the timing has worked out and we never want to look past an opponent, but if you could then say, hey, listen, to Joe, listen, I've won 5 out of 6 now, you know, as a welterweight, and is there somebody that you would like next? You know, if you were to fight at the end of the year or beginning of the year, is there somebody maybe, you know, I don't know, Wonder Boy's doing well, maybe you want a rematch there or something, you know, that you feel would be the one that you want to get next?
You know, there's a guy who called me last year, and the fight was this call wasn't make sense at all. But now with the win against Josh Burkman, this fight can make sense now. And he called me last year, and you know, this guy is a cheater too, and he's gonna be out until January. But you know, if you wanna jump in February, I'll fight Hector Lombard tomorrow for sure.
Wow! Wow! Okay. That's a good fight, actually. I like that.
Yeah, he called me last year. I don't know why. And the fight, like I said, it wasn't making any sense. I was just coming in the 170. But now with the win with Burkman, finished Burkman that he wasn't able to do it. And, you know, I can't wait until February to fight again. Doesn't matter. I know he's suspended until January. So I'll be happy to fight a cheater for sure.
Oh, cool. I like it. Well, thank you, Patrick. And of course, you know, I'll be in the studio for the Saskatchewan fights. So I will see you in the studio. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you very much.